Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know what time you're going to see me. So again, my apologies for not being able to make it personally. However, I hope you can have a good overview of my chapter with this presentation. As you know, I'm going to discuss Brazil's views on India as a partner in the multilateral system of trade, namely the WTO, the World Trade Organization. However, to understand their connections in recent times, let's look back at the time of the GATT first, the General Agreement of Trade and Tariffs, and see how were their partnership at that time. Then we can better understand why their partnership persists over time. As you know, in the 70s, the time of the Tokyo round of the GATT, the round of negotiations, the time to liberalize trade in the multilateral level, the countries were in a very different stage than now. Both were engaged in an ISI, Institutional Industrialization Strategy. Nonetheless, both shared very similar interests. Both had very defensive positions in the multilateral level. They didn't want to constrain liberalization. They really wanted to constrain liberalization in the multilateral level, and they portrayed themselves as being leaders of the developing world. At the time caught between the disputes of the Cold War between the United States and the USSR, the capitalist and the communist bloc. More than 30 years after, Brazil and India, they're still partners, as we could see in the most recent WTO ministerial in Bali, Indonesia, last December. However, it's a different situation. It's a situation in which both countries they have opposite interests sometimes, and to be fair, most of the time. Namely, Brazil has an interest in liberalizing agriculture, whereas India is more protectionist on that because of its large number of very small peasants that depend on the land to survive. However, now though, both are emerging powers. So what is really bringing them together in the WTO level? Interests are not the reason, nor the interests in terms of what they want in the international level. India is rising far more prominently than Brazil is. It's enough to see its strategic partnership with the United States in order to contain China in East Asia, something that Brazil doesn't have in its own region and from the part of the United States.